Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, and we are back on the free-to-play account. This time we're going to be talking about comic cards, non-premium, free-to-play friendly comic cards that you should look towards attaining and building up as soon as possible as a new player coming to Marvel Future Fight, because your comic cards are essentially the backbone of your roster. And I know that we are in the era of pierce this and pierce that, and premium card this and premium card that. And honestly, if you want to clear endgame content in record speeds at the highest possible level, you are going to need premium cards, and eventually you're going to need to craft them. That's just what it is. That's the nature of the beast, because your comic cards are the backbone of your roster. They're essentially going to make every single character you have or get in the future stronger as soon as you get them. Think about these comic cards like the foundation of a house. The stronger the structure, the more durable the house is and the longer it will last. The more powerful your entire roster will be if you put more time and thought into building up your card set. So I want to talk to you guys about 10 cards that you can basically put in your set as a new player until you get to the point where you can farm GBR every single day, get tokens, and also start getting some premium cards to slowly put in your set. Because as a new player, within your first month, you're not going to have access to any premium cards unless you are spending money. You're not going to have it. You're just not going to have it. However, you don't need it, because I played this game without premium cards for 6 whole years, and even after they put in the crafting system and everybody was going crazy with Pierce, I was still able to play the game perfectly fine and clear endgame content, super endgame content even, without ever crafting my cards. So don't feel pressured to actually make a hasteful decision and do something crazy like spending a whole bunch of money just to get premium cards, because sure, it will help you get to the end game faster, but you don't need to rush. So let's talk about it, and I'll share my thoughts on some of the cards that you should look towards, and I'll tell you exactly what you should do in terms of like getting stats on those cards. So when it comes to your cards, let me tell you right now, having more all attack is one of the best things you could do. Okay, so get your all attack. As you can see, this is a new account that I've been playing for 2 weeks, so my cards are not very good at the moment because I'm only playing on this account for like 25 minutes per day. Just have to manage my time and be wise about how I invested on this account. However, for you, I'm assuming it's your main account. You'll probably play more than 25 minutes a day. Your goal should be to get around 50% all attack on your cards as quickly as you possibly can. 50 seems like a lot. It is. However, this is a long-term project, so you'll get there eventually. Then you also want to aim for about 25% physical attack, 25 to 30% energy attack, about 35% ignore defense, and about 28 to 31% cooldown duration. These stats should be your primary goal. Everything else, you can do whatever you want with it, but those stats and those numbers are ideal to help you get to end game content. So write that down if you need to, and start looking at cards that give you a lot of all attack, a lot of physical and energy attack, and cooldown. So let me talk to you guys about the top 10, I would say, beginner comic cards that are not premium. Okay, this is not in any particular order. These are just my top 10. You can pick out the ones that you want the most. Just keep in mind, in this game, characters are either physical based or energy based, meaning they do damage based on their physical attack stat or their energy attack stat. So right here on this page, it shows you energy attack, physical defense, and HP. This means that this character does damage based off of his energy attack. However, if I go over to Black Widow, it says right here, physical attack, physical defense, energy defense, and HP. This basically tells me that Black Widow does damage based off of her physical attack. So if you have a lot of physical attack characters in your roster, you want to get as much physical attack as you can early on. If you have a lot of energy attacking characters that are built up, you want to get as much energy attack. You want to build your cards around your roster, but also keep in mind that some of the strongest characters that you will get access to in the future are energy based. So when you get all attack on your cards, that will buff your energy and your physical based characters both. So that's why you should always aim to get more all attack than physical and energy, but you try to balance out the physical and energy so your characters are equally powerful regardless of which type you are using. That being said, let's dive right into it. This card right here is definitely one of the best cards you can possibly get, and you will be able to get it for free. Hear me out. Dimension missions. This is one of the first things you can do as soon as you start playing the game. You want to come here, and every single day there will be a new type of comic card that you can get. So today it's this card right here, X-Force 24. It's actually not very good. Tomorrow you will be able to get Uncanny X-Men. That's not actually very good. Then on Saturday you will be able to get the Loki Agent of Asgard number 17 from simply playing these missions, and then so on and so forth. This card right here, I'm going to put it on my list. Marvel Zombies number 2 is actually not bad for a new player. This one right here for Nebula, it's also not bad for a new player. And then this one right here for Groot is also not bad. And then you have Star-Lord. This card right here is actually not bad either. So they give you a lot of different options on a lot of different days, and you can get a fully functional set with decent stats from just playing the game for a couple days. Or you can go to the support shop right here and you can use your tokens to get other cards, some of which you could farm, but others that are a bit more hard to attain. They're not premium cards, but they feel like it because they're not available everywhere. I'll give you one such example. This card right here. This card right here, you don't see too often, too many places. I actually was able to get it in the chest that I just opened a while ago. When I was just opening chests at random, I was actually able to get this one. And this one is actually really good. It's one of the best non-premium comic cards that I would recommend. I'm going to put this very high up on my list. Let's start off with that Loki card, and I'll show you guys what stats you should ideally be hoping to attain. So what makes this card so good is the fact that it gives you all attack and cooldown, 2 of the 5 stats that you're aiming for. You're aiming for as much all attack as you can get, as much physical and energy attack as you can get, about 35% ignore defense, and about 30 to like 31% cooldown. Because your alliance is probably not very good unless you got lucky and got into like a level 30 alliance like day 1 of playing the game, right? So you want to get as much of those stats as you can possibly get, because more cooldown is going to make it so that your skills come off cooldown faster and you're able to just do more damage because you can use your skills more often. All attack obviously is going to make it so that you can do more damage because your attack stats are higher. And in case you didn't know, ignore defense, this thing that I have at 19% here, basically what it does is exactly what it says. It ignores the defense of the opponent that you are fighting. So because I have 19.5%, if I go into a fight and the enemy has 100 defense points, I'm gonna ignore 19.5 of that. So essentially, let's just round it up to 20%. I'm doing 20% more damage because I have 20% ignore defense. You can get as high as 50% cumulatively from like your character stats and your cards combined. You don't need to go for 50% here, but just keep in mind the most ignore defense you can have is 50%. And that's actually really good, because if the boss or whoever you're fighting has 100 defense points and you're ignoring 50% of that, they've effectively lost half of their defense. So now you're doing 50% more damage, which is really, really good. Okay, so let's jump back to that Loki card in the collection here. And ideally for this card, these are the stats that you want. However, if you get unlucky and you get a decent setup with some decent stats, go for it, because you can easily swap out these cards later once you get some premium cards. Okay, so all attack and cooldown comes with fixed options. They will not be changed ever. Just keep that in mind. However, the rest are random. For the third slot, I would ideally recommend that you go with crit damage or max HP, dodge or ignore defense are also very good. Next up, you want to go for the attack proc here to give you that 20% increase to your physical attack. If you get attack speed and you don't feel like re-rolling this card once you get it to 6 stars, completely up to you, but the physical attack proc is the best. The fifth option right here, all defense is the best, and this one right here, the next best option, really comes down to what you need. You get physical attack, I would say you keep it. You get energy attack, you keep it. If you get crit rate, I would say you re-roll it. That's just my opinion. Next up is the Thor card. So this one right here, and the reason why it's one of the best is because it gives you 2 of the 5 stats that you're looking for. So the last card I showed you gave you all attack and cooldown. This one is giving you energy attack and ignore defense. Those stats are very important, guys. Next up, from the third slot, you can get the cooldown if you need it, or you can get physical attack, all defense. Crowd control and poison resist are not going to be very helpful to you early on. It's just my opinion. It's just a wasted stat. So you want to go for the physical attack ideally, or the cooldown. On the fourth slot here, as you can see, it gives you energy attack. And this is really, really good because for the Loki card, as I mentioned earlier, it actually gives you physical attack, which allows you to then get physical attack and energy attack on your cards via these attack procs. You can only have one energy attack proc and one physical attack proc that can activate whenever your skill goes off. So over here it says activated effect. These will be displayed here. However, you can't have like 5 energy attack procs. You can only have one, and you can only have one physical attack proc. So that Thor card is actually really good because if you put the Loki card in to give you the cooldown and the all attack, and then you put this Thor card in to give you the energy attack and the ignore defense, and then you get the procs on them, you now have perfect balance. You have synergy. You have an energy attack proc and a physical attack proc, which is really, really good. Next is the fifth slot, which the only good option here in my opinion is the crit damage, and then the sixth one you can get all attack or max HP, but ideally you want all attack. The Loki card and the Thor card has perfect synergy. Moving on, the next card I want to recommend to you new players out there is completely up to you. I think this one, even though it's a really good card, it's an optional, okay? I'm going to recommend that you look at Shield number 12. This one right here, it has the all attack and it gives you crit damage. However, the slots down here are a little bit harder to roll, but if rolled correctly, you could get some nice stats. It gives you energy attack or max HP there. This next one right here, the most you can get out of it is attack speed. This one though, you can actually get crit rate, and then this last one can give you cooldown or physical attack. I think because this one has the all attack as a fixed option, it's not a bad one to look at. The next card I'm going to recommend is Punisher number 60 because it gives you physical attack, max HP, and if you roll, cooldown down here with some attack speed, or maybe if you didn't get the physical attack proc on the Loki card, you can get it this way. Or right here you can get some energy attack, some ignore defense, and then the last one right here gives you crit damage and all attack. I like this card even though it's a little bit harder to roll because you don't get the fixed option as the all attack stat. You get it down here and you have to roll for it. Okay, next card I would recommend is Marvel Zombies. Where is this? This one is like, I have it in my set because it gives you really, really high cooldown, which is very, very beneficial for new players. Where is the Marvel Zombies card? So this one right here, it starts off with dodge, but it gives you cooldown. The dodge is not that useful. However, having 11% cooldown will help you get to that nice sweet spot of 28 to 31%. Then right here, as you can see, you can get energy attack. Right here, you actually don't get any good options, unfortunately, but the last stat also gives you all attack. I'm trying to look for cards that give me as much cooldown and as much attack as possible, even if I have to roll for it. And you're gonna come across a lot of these cards. You're gonna come across a lot of Marvel Zombies cards because they're in the Dimension missions. The next one I want to mention to you guys is Civil War number 4 and Civil War number 5. As you can see, you get all attack on this one. The physical defense is not very good, so that's why this one is lower down on the list, but the all attack as a fixed option is actually really nice. Next, you can get physical attack or max HP. Then you can also get cooldown if you need it, or right down here you can get defense or crit damage, and lastly you can get some energy attack or some ignore defense. I like this card. It doesn't have perfect stats, but it helps get you to where you want to be. The Civil War number 5 card, as you can see, it gives you physical attack and ignore defense, and if you roll it properly, it can give you some nice substats as well down here with critical damage and critical rate for the third one, and then the fourth one giving you cooldown or an all attack proc, which is actually very, very good. And then down here you can get max HP or energy attack, and lastly you can get all attack. This card is very, very good if rolled properly. It's only down here because you have to roll these stats and it doesn't give you all attack very easily. Next one I want to put on this list is the Shaner variant number 1. And this one right here, physical attack and crit rate. If you roll it, you can get cooldown. Fourth slot can give you attack speed or crit damage. Next slot can give you all defense. And lastly, you can get some all attack down here. Because you have to roll for attack, like all attack. That's why I'm putting it a little bit lower down, but just having the option of getting all attack is actually very, very good. Like the stats are placed nicely on this card. Next one I want to recommend, if you get it, I'm not saying go out of your way to get any of these cards. If you come across them, I'm just letting you know they're actually very good. So next one is actually Captain America number 24. This one is really, really good because it gives you physical attack and cooldown. However, down here you get attack speed. This one you get energy attack, and then this one right here you can get crit damage, ignore defense, or all defense, and then lastly you can get all attack. This card is pretty good because it gives you two nice fixed options, and then you can roll for the rest that you want. Now the last card I'm going to mention is actually the Spider-Man card. I'm putting this one last because you have to make some really, really hard choices with this card. Like for example, the third slot has you choosing between attack and cooldown. Both of these substats are really, really good. Getting more attack is great. Getting more cooldown if you need it is great. So having to choose between the two really sucks. And then next one right here, you get physical attack or max HP. This one right here, you actually get ignore defense or crit rate. And lastly, you get crit damage. Just because this has the all attack is why I wanted to include it here. And if you get it rolled perfectly, and let's say you don't need the cooldown, you can actually walk away with some pretty decent stats. That's all I'm saying. This card is actually not bad. You could roll for physical attack here and energy attack here with the all attack, and then you could walk away with over 16% more all attack, 11 from the all attack, and then another 5 from the energy and the physical. So overall, these are the cards that I would recommend if you come across them, whether it's from the token shop here or from some other like means in the game that gives you comic cards, like a Shadowland box that you open and you get one of these cards. It's actually not a bad thing to get them up to 6 stars and throw a few rolls into them and see if you can roll them properly. But ideally, you should work towards getting premium cards as soon as you possibly can. So we're gonna wrap it up right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. These are the non-premium comic cards that I would recommend to you if you are a new player just starting in Marvel Future Fight. I think you can go a long way with these cards.